The College Football Playoff Committee is going to come out with their rankings here in just a little bit. They'll kind of talk about it, and I'm sure they'll have their metrics and the way that they rank these teams, and that's fine. We're not going to wait for all that. We're going to give you our college football playoff rankings right now. So through 5 weeks now of the college football season, we have a little bit more of a sample size on a lot of these teams, kind of starting to take some shape as the college football playoff race. Still a long way to go, a lot of runway. I'll give you my top 10 teams on our Wednesday live show, so make sure you're subscribed. College football fans, make sure you're dialed in right here. College football, only college football, every single day of the year. All right, we appreciate y'all being dialed in. Make sure you're subscribed here first, and also follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at JD Piquel. So, start with our first two out, all right? At number 6, I got Penn State. And Penn State is a team that obviously, if they handle business, as every single team on this list, if they handle business, they'll move up. But Penn State especially, man, their schedule is backloaded. They got that game October 21st where they go to Ohio State. That'll be the litmus test for us about Penn State, where it's like, okay, what are they really? They keep passing these tests. They handle Iowa. They start slow against Northwestern, a little bit of adversity. No worries. They go on to throttle them, cover the spread. Good teams win, great teams cover. Penn State cover now the last 2 weeks. I think Drew Aller obviously is the reason for optimism there. But the unsung hero of that team, the defense, man. The defense has got to be a top 10, top 5 unit in the country. They don't get enough buzz because it's not as exciting to talk about, the defense being so good. You'd rather talk about the Heisman Trophy potential of a guy like Drew Aller eventually in Happy Valley and what he does for the offense. And I understand that. I'm for that. I'm here for that. Heck, I'll take part in that. I think Drew Aller is phenomenal and the reason why you are excited at Penn State right now. But even so, the defense paired with Drew Aller and the freak show running backs they have in that room and all that they have ability-wise and depth-wise makes them dangerous. They're 6 right now. I promise you they will move up if they keep winning. It may not be till October 21st before they move up. All right, so keep an eye on that. At number 5, we got Texas. And Texas is a team that I considered moving up. We just had some bye weeks this week that kept us from feeling great about doing that. But I was impressed by them because they handled a ranked Kansas team. Now, no Jalen Daniels for that Kansas team, their best player, their quarterback. Even so, man, Texas continues to prove the old Texas doesn't stay here anymore. I don't know where they're at, but they're not on the 40 acres. Because that Texas team had a phenomenal second half, never panicked, and also leaned on their big boys up front to the tune of over 300 yards rushing against a Kansas unit defensively that actually had been pretty solid during the year to this point against the run. So Texas, they're at 5 right now. They have so many weapons. I love the way they're trending. They've already cleared their most difficult hurdle in Alabama. The game this upcoming weekend now against Oklahoma will be very, very telling in Red River. So we'll be dialed in for that one. And Texas at 5 absolutely could be much higher this time next week. At 4 now, we got Ohio State. They had a bye week. They were at 4 for me last week. I don't feel good about dropping them because they didn't play a game. Just kind of the way that we operate here. Kyle McCord's the big question mark for me. Looked good in that 2-minute drive against Notre Dame to win the game. I wonder now, is that a situation that just propels him forward and we kind of see him spread his wings and operate this Ohio State offense to 40 points a game plus? Or is it a thing where, like, hey, that's who Kyle McCord is. He's going to, game in and game out, do what needs to be done. He's going to get the ball to playmakers, but he's not going to necessarily light the world on fire. He's not going to be C.J. Stroud, and he doesn't have to be C.J. Stroud. But for Kyle McCord, he has to unlock the playmakers because Marvin Harrison Jr. needs to eat. Emeka Egbuka needs to eat. They have to have a light box so Travion Henderson can run the football, so Mine Williams can run the football. Like, they have so many weapons. Kyle McCord can't just be a field general kind of guy. He has to be a legitimate weapon throwing the football for them. I'm not saying he isn't that. I saw him do that against Notre Dame, but I'm just curious now, how does he trend after a big win like that? Again, Ohio State at number 4. You can't drop him off a bye week. Makes no sense. We're not doing that here. Michigan handled business against Nebraska. Michigan's just tricky to figure out, man, because every single week we talk about Michigan being one of the best teams in the country, and I had them at 2 for a long time. I'll talk about who I have ahead of them here in just a second, but for Michigan, they're the team that, I said it last week, we know the most about and the least about. The most about in the sense that they're top 5 in returning production. They got a really good quarterback in J.J. McCarthy in terms of a tools perspective, solid identity, really good backfield, probably the best backfield in the country. Got a lot of weapons that seem to be stepping up. Defense with a lot of pieces back. But like at the end of the day, at Michigan, we don't have a tremendous filter to run this 2023 team to when it comes to an opponent. So Michigan, they're at 3, not because they've done anything wrong. I'm just curious as to what they're going to be going forward. And there's a couple other teams that I felt better about putting ahead of them right now. We'll talk about those right now. At 2, I got Florida State. Florida State also on a bye. Didn't feel good about moving them after playing 0 games this week. Saw them play Clemson and win on not their best day. Ran for 20 yards, still found a way to get it done against the class of the ACC. I think that says something. Handled LSU. LSU, I think, is still a very good football team regardless of what happens against Ole Miss last night. I'm not worried about that. Florida State, very complete. They have an edge to them. I like the way they're built from a roster standpoint. I think Jordan Travis still isn't getting enough talk. I'm excited to see what they do going forward because right now it's about Florida State every single game they play. And if you're a good football team, you always think it's about you every single game you play. But I mean, for Florida State now, like, they're going to have a better roster than every single team that they played to this point. Like, the big hurdles were LSU and Clemson, where the roster talent was a little bit, more evenly matched. Not that they're going to still play good and talented teams, but I just think for Florida State, like, you've kind of had your 2 toughest tests already. Can you walk the tightrope all the way to the ACC title and handle business and then get to the college football playoff? I'm excited to see, but they're at 2 for us this week, and they had a bye, so we don't really have any data on them. Now, Georgia got their first real test. Like, South Carolina was a test of sorts, but Georgia went on the road, rivalry setting, played Auburn and Jordan-Hare. Like, this was a game that tested Carson Beck for the first time in his first road start. It tested Mike Bobo and how much trust he has in some of the pieces in this offense. I was really impressed by the way that Georgia responded because they were down 10-0 to Auburn, had to battle back, had to find a way to scratch and claw and fight and find a way to win that football game. Because Hugh Freeze now, for Auburn, ton of credit deserved his way. He dialed it up. He schemed them up. I mean, they ran for over 200 yards. In Georgia, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't pretty, but still something to be said for finding a way to win and something to be said about the stress test that you put your first-year starting quarterback through and the way he responded and the way that Mike Bobo was able to dial it up for your best playmaker. Great OCs now. We said it in a video already on this channel. Great offensive coordinators. They don't let defenses take away their best weapon. And that was what we saw them do yesterday, was Georgia take advantage of their best weapon and find a way to win a football game in a rivalry game on the road in conference play. So to recap it for you, at 6, we got Penn State. At 5, we got Texas. At 4, we got Ohio State. At 3, we got Michigan. Those could both move up here in the very near future. At 2, we got Florida State. At 1, we got Georgia. Make sure you're dialed in here. We got our top 10 rankings, full top 10 dropping for you on my Instagram page. It might already be out right now if you go check at Jody Piquel. But we're going to have a full breakdown for you on the Wednesday live show, so make sure you subscribe right here, and we will talk ball and nothing but ball. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all, man. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.